Hello guys, welcome back. Tuesday's vlog, weekend's flown over. I've done a few updates if you've seen it on Facebook, been up to Kielder this weekend. I think you've seen, actually you will have seen the new car swap. Obviously I've got the Altea back, Simon's got the A6. There's development today, just because of purely that it's the only day Simon's off and I'm actually free to get this done, is 12 o'clock, which is a few hours time. The Remap guy, RGM's coming to do a stage 1 and EGR delete on the A6. And stage 1 at EGR delete on the Altea. I've had it to the exhaust specialist and the DPF doesn't need to be removed to fix the flexi pipe that's blown. So that will just remain, which is probably better in the grand scheme of things anyway. So that's that done. Just want to just quickly show you what's in, just a quick intro today, because we need to get on. You seen this in last week, the little Hyundai Getz. This one is actually a little flyer. It's got the 1400 16 valve in, double overhead cam. Not many of them have this engine. It's always the little 1 litres and 1100s and 1200s, believe it or not. So yeah, good little engines these. That just look after them and they just run and run. It's in for a service. I've just done the air filter. Really awkward side light down there. I've just done that. That was out. A wiper on this side, struggling to find. We've used a load of little wipers lately. Driver side one's okay. And the rear wiper was also knackered. That's been done. Rear screen wash jet isn't working very well. I'm not going to mess on too much with that. Just purely down to the value of the car, to what the guy wants to spend. I'll get some high pressure air and use my little screen wash tool. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these before. There's the Euro parts number from lots and lots of years ago. Has that got a date on? 09? It's just like a little hypodermic needle basically at each side, which you just push into the jet to unblock it. We'll give it a quick go, but we're not going to waste too much time on it. And the number plate light was getting a bit dull, but again, these are a nightmare. These little, in fact, that boot handle on it's just we'll just not be touching that because it will just fall to bits inside of those. But yeah, oil change, quick check underneath, tyre pressures. But as you can see, it's just getting hard up, but it's mechanically sound, and believe it or not, structurally sound. It's just got the old corrosion on it. It does look far worse than it actually is, I will admit. But yeah, quite a nice little model. Air conditioning, electric windows, the nice 1400 engine, GSI, I think it says on the back, 1400 GSI, top of the range in the day, near enough. Yeah, good little cars actually, they really are good. And the Kia Picanto, I'm not going to knock them. I would have one if one come up for cheap. I would definitely use one as a winter runner, or just a summer fly about, really, the canny little cars. On to something not so great, the Fiat 500, and also known as the Ford Ka. Just really bad for these back axles, whatnot. That's what Simon's busy on doing now. We're just coating them with some wax oil to give it some winter protection. It already had new shockers in spring, I think. No, not the spring, shockers last year. Yeah, that's our shockers were fitted. And we did warn her that the back axle was getting a bit hard up. Coated it. See how it gets through this winter, see what sort of a winter we'll actually have. This is in for MOT and a small service, just an oil change, which I believe has been done. So you will see up there, nice new man filter. These subframes as well on them aren't the best, so that's what Simon's on, just coating them. But if you do ever want to do a wishbone arm on one of these, there's a big bolt that comes out of this one, and you've got to remove all this section of the front subframe just to get it out to remove the arms. So the arms on these are renowned for going on these back bushes here, and you can't change the bushes, you've got to get a whole arm, and you've got to end up taking all this off, which with this one having the fog lights on, the Fiat 500s aren't too bad. You have to take all the fog lamp out and get to it through there, but the Ford Kas don't have this little cut out, and I think you've got to nearly take the bumper off on them. So yeah, bit of a silly idea. But this, again, funny enough, on number plate lights, that's the only issue with this one. It's in for MOT, but remember what I told you. You only fail them if it's one light and it's off. This has got two. So as long as one's working out of two, it's passed and advised. If it only had one and it wasn't working, it's a fail. And I've tried to get the little units for this and you can't. And more than likely, that big chrome piece there with the boot switch and everything, you'll probably have to buy the whole lot, more than likely, to do it. And if you do touch it inside, it'll probably start shorting out. So we're going to leave that for today well alone. So we'll leave that. Let's see what there is outside, and it's starting to rain. I think it's just the A6. Yeah, A6, like I said, that'll be getting remapped shortly. Simon is over the moon with that. I'm over the moon with the Altea as well, actually. So we're going to have a look at the A6, like I mentioned to you about the second gear thing. We're going to see if we can spot any kind of the engine mounts, any bit more play in them, see, price them up, all the rest of it. So that's that. This here, ML battery, that's on charge. Bit of a pain to remove that, what I expected, but no doubt this will probably take nearly all day and well into the night to fully charge. Because it's only a 5 amp hour battery charger, and this is like a 95 amp hour battery, so it'll take a good while to charge. I'll show you the new scanner. I'll just go and get it. Well, not because my dad's on the phone. What it is, but I'll go and get it. 2 seconds. In fact, before I do, I'll just talk you through here. The Altea is getting the new will be a stainless steel flexi welded in, but this is what you call a VAG joint on the exhaust, just a little bit further back from the DPF where the guy's working. One of these looks really rough, so I've got a new one and he's going to put it on. When it has been remapped, with the new DPF, I'm going to fit a new pressure sensor. It's a DPF pressure sensor. It's not really much to them. They're just basically a 2-pin little... I was trying to open this with one hand. That's all it is. It's a little pressure sensor. And it's got the original one on. It's got nearly 170,000 miles on. So I'm going to change it. But you don't just change them. You've got to go into the ECU via VAGCOM and VCDS and tell the car it's got a new sensor. And also what you shouldn't do, but I found out you can do, which helps things, is you also tell the car it's got a new DPF fitted as well. And that creates a really good new cycle of strong regens to clean it out. So we're going to get that done as well and get that sorted. So just while I'm on, so I've got a set of drop links for it. It's got a bit of a rattle, but that'll come another day. So that's that. I'm just going to show you the scanner as well as the 2 dogs. Hunter and Harvey having a chill there, aren't you? Yeah, Hunter has to always pick something up, don't you, son? Good lad. And there's the big man there, the boss, having a rest. Right, with this thing, this is the new one. Yes, I know, it looks exactly the same as the old one, but bear with us. This is the MK. No, it isn't the MK. It's the MP, which is the Pro version. Basically, it does everything. What they used to do was have the big units. And people were like, well, I don't really want a big unit. The normal size tablet is enough. Why do I need to have the great big ones? So what this is, it's just like a compact version of the 2,000 and 3,000 pound machines. This is it's the MP 808, and also it's the TS, which is the tire pressure monitoring. It's a specialist tire pressure monitoring one, and I've got the box somewhere here with all the sensors and stuff in. We don't deal a lot with it, but it's a handy feature to have for free. It's really high end on all that, but this does everything. And I've done a separate video on it, guys, so I will be uploading that quite soon. And I'll do some showing you what to do. And the main upgrades are, it's got all the adaptions, the coding, the, what's the word, the kind of basic functions, like making actuators move, programming keys, everything. It just basically does everything the top end stuff does, but it's in the little 808 style tablet, like that. Physically wise, it just looks the same as the other one. But it's what's inside that matters. But I've made a massive balls up. I don't know what I've done. I've fitted the memory card in, and I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning the other day, uploading 180 odd updates. They were all up to date. I sat till 2 o'clock in the morning doing them all individually. If you do it as a bulk update, the machine just has a hissy fit. So I've put the memory card in, it's reverted back to needing all the updates again. So it's just going to have to be a case of leaving it plugged in, and just every time one's been done, just come in the office and just hit download, download, download. Bit of a pain, it's annoyed us a bit, but I need to crack on, get these jobs done, because the remapping guy's coming shortly for the other cars, and my Altea's still at home. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Quick update, guys, just before things get a little bit hectic. The Fiat, when it come in, the radiator fan was constantly running, even though it wasn't hot, and it was making such a noise, and we're all looking at each other thinking, oh, it doesn't sound very healthy. Here, down here, there is what you call your heater resistor for your, it's not a heater, it's a cooling fan resistor. It goes into that little block there, and it's this unit here, which this is meant to be. This is like a porcelain ring, just a resistor basically, and it connects to that. It had fallen off somehow, and this porcelain block was just rattling round in there up against the fan. And obviously because it had detached, it had created an open circuit, which was causing the fan to run continuously. So that was just being juggled round up against the fan in there. It's a good job. It's just slightly damaged some of the radiator in there, but nothing major. Nothing's leaking. So yeah, new one of these from Fiat. I think it's going to work out with the VAT in about 50 quid. Nobody else does them. But unfortunately, we're going to have to reattach it like this. But luckily now, when the fan's running, this isn't going to be getting juggled about. And this is some weight. And it's going to be Thursday till it's here. So that's that. I'm going to put that back in, and this is ready for test. Nothing more to speak of. The little Hyundai, Simon's done all the coating underneath on it, on the axle, subframe, just to keep it right. Simple oil and filter, air filter, covering underneath, check the tyre pressures, few wipers on it. I would show you, but it's pouring rain outside. But really, all it's got to come back in for is the rear windscreen washer, if he wants to do it. A little test to do on these guys, just to make things simple. I'll sort of show you on this car. If you're, especially the rear washer, if it's not working, it can be one of two things: blocked or detached somewhere and it's leaking inside the car. Simple way to find out, to save any faffing about whatsoever, is this probably doesn't show you. Yeah, it does. Fill your level right up to the point you can see it, and get somebody to stand and watch it and simply spray the washer jet. And if the level goes down, it's leaking into the car somewhere. If it stays where it is, it's blocked. You might all laugh there and go, yeah, that's of the obvious, Dan, but a lot of people don't think of that. They really don't. So, and don't continuously keep doing it, because you're just flooding the inside of your car with water. So that's that anyway. Number plate light on this, it's going to have to come back in, like I mentioned, it's not part of the MOT. So on to what's happening now. Got the Altea here, and we've got the A6 over there. Oh, actually, there's another job. I forgot about that one. I'll show you in a minute. We've got the A6. We've got this little Clio. I'm going to bring that in and show you that. It's a bit of a funny one. And the guy, he will not spend a penny on this car. And every penny he's got to spend is painful. And it's painful to listen to him sometimes. But the battery's knackered on it, which is very painful for him. But there's something a lot more worrying than a battery, which I've advised him not to drive the car. If you remember, this Clio was the one I sold about a year ago. I didn't sell it. I found it for him. The buyers brought it to the garage and they did the deal. The tyre was knackered then. And he's used it since then. And no, the MOT isn't due. It hasn't been MOT'd. Quite frightening what people will do and how they will drive a vehicle because they haven't got a few quid to fix it. Worrying. I'm going to bring that in. I'm going to pause this now. Probably very soon the remapping guy will be here. And like I mentioned with the Altea, I'm not getting the DPF deleted anymore on it. And what I have got here is a sensor. This was going to cost me £47. And we couldn't run a garage like this because we need parts here now kind of thing. This cost me about 43 quid. And I've getting one on eBay, exactly the same Bosch one, for £23 delivered. So that can go back. But obviously it'll take a few days for the other one to come. But like I'm saying, since the DPF's remaining in place, I'm going to do a few little simple service tasks on it. Once James on Thursday, tints and tweaks. Highly recommend going there if you want anything done exhaust related. Stainless steel, custom systems. And main thing is, with a lot of cars, funny enough, Fiat, I was showing you on the last week, are a nightmare for this. Right, here's one right here. This is their favourite trick. They like to put flexi joints on cats. So it means to replace the flexi, you've got to replace the cat. Some cars like these, it's fine. But on these, that right underneath the subframe, James has got all sorts of fancy gear. When he looked at it, I was like, how on earth can you do that without removing that DPF? And he was showing us these things he has, and it's absolutely amazing. Everybody to their own trade, but I find that absolutely amazing how he can even get in there to cut that thing off, and let alone to re-weld it is amazing. But he's been doing these exhausts for... I was just speaking to him when I first passed my test in 2006. I had a 1 litre Polo, and when hence they're called tints and tweaks, he started doing window tinting, and I got me back windows, as we all did back in the day, limo black. Couldn't see a thing out the back window or nothing. And he did that, and that's when he first started out. Then he branched into the tweaks, which are stainless steel exhausts. So yeah, I'm going to get that's in on Thursday, but that's why it's Tuesday today, it's getting remapped. Tomorrow evening, it's going to stop in overnight at his place, and it's getting done on Thursday. But since the DPF's stopping in place, 2 service things you can do to it. Now it'll be getting full flow through the remap, and also with the EGR being deleted and the exhaust being fixed, I'm going to fit a new pressure sensor and reset the ECU, and also tell it it's got a new DPF. It hasn't, but I've been told by this remapping guy that's what you do to get them running absolutely mint again. It isn't not running mint. I just want to, now I'm spending this money on getting the exhaust sorted, I want the DPF to be working properly. So I'll catch yous very soon when I get the Clio in here and when the remapping guy's here. Just thought I'd show you this Clio anyway. So obviously this is the one, remember, I quite like the car. I got the guy a mint deal on this. The battery, obviously, it's got a nice Bosch S4 on, so I don't know what's going on. They'll probably check it a bit. Yeah, so that's the battery out anyway. The compressor just cut in there. It's got some kind of fancy piece that you put on because it's got like two little fitments that go on. Typical French. But yeah, so that's that. Off, new battery, but I just want to show you the tyre. This has actually always been driving around in it. Believe it or not though, for an MOT, if there's no cords exposed, it's above 1.6 mil. It's one of them tyres that you would absolutely hate to have to pass. But as long as it was inflated, because that's underinflated obviously, as long as it was inflated and no cords or nothing were exposed, fortunately, that's a passing advice. But there's absolutely no way I'll be driving with that. If I just get the light to show you a bit clearer. It must drive absolutely terrible, this thing, like that. Look at that all on the inside. Bald. Yeah, it's a bad one. If you look at it, it goes all the way around there, that. It's actually been running on the tyre wall. So yeah. But he's got one in the back. I can't, he's not wanting to even, I said we'll do it for next to nothing for you. He's not even wanting it done. But we've got the one out the back, the spare. It's a really ancient Michelin, but it's a damn sight better than what he's got on. So for the sake of just quickly swapping a wheel, really, you can say what you want about him, whatever, let him crack on. But if that tyre pops and he crashes into some innocent person, for the sake of 5 minutes of what time, I suppose it's worth it, isn't it? The end result will be, more than likely, like 9 times out of 10, the innocent party, unfortunately, more than likely, would suffer, wouldn't they? If you had a blowout and lost control and hit somebody or something. So, yeah, so new battery on, X-side one. And, wait, there's the big one here on charge. That's luckily charging okay. So, yeah, I'll leave that there. I'll catch up when the guy gets here to do the remapping. Right guys, welcome back. Both the cars have been remapped. I didn't want to shove the camera in the guy's face while he's working. I personally find that, on my level at least, disrespectful to somebody, as well as filming around his van with whatever equipment he keeps in it and stuff like that. RGM remaps, fantastic guys. That's the A6 being done. If anybody wants to know the figures, I will, but I think the Audi, the 2.7 V6 TDI was about 177 brake horsepower up to... I'll show you I'll write it down. I'll have a look later this week. I'm sure that's about 210 brake now. That was 168, 170, and that's running about 210. They're running about the same actually. And the torque figures as well have gone from mid 300 Newton meters to low 400, 420s, 430s, something like that. Haven't driven it yet, but this thing is an absolute beast to start with. It really is. It's unbelievable. Like I've said, wolf in sheep's clothing, really, that car summarises that saying. But one thing I've mentioned, it's going in tomorrow night / Thursday for to have the flexi pipe. The flexi pipe on this is buried up in the subframe and it's part of the DPF and it's leaking. I've already shown you what they are, and I'm going to have that professionally repaired, stop the fumes coming to the cabin and just so it's running right. But what I am also going to do is this. The DPF pressure, as it happens, it's actually been it snapped when it come off, but it was very, very brittle. I don't know if that's been leaking or something like that. Luckily, the bit come out the pipe, no problem at all. But what I'm going to do, I've just thought, well, I've got this off. This is your DPF pressure sensor, obviously. I've got a brand new Bosch one. I'm keeping that box clean. I was like, I've told you, I've getting the one off eBay, a genuine Bosch one, exactly the same, for instead of nearly 40 odd quid for only 20 something. May as well do it. Stupid not to, because either way, if that isn't the original, which the guy says he thinks it has been an updated version, even so, it's done a lot of mileage. It's just gone about to click 170,000 miles, this car now. These two pipes, basically, this is how a DPF pressure sensor works. You've got a one at the beginning of the DPF and a one at the end, and it basically just calculates the pressure before and after. The higher the pressure, the more blocked it is. meaning is the regens, lower the pressure. Obviously, it's not blocked, it doesn't require regens. But I've got this stuff here, it's just cheapy stuff. It's DPF cleaner, and I'll just spray it. It's at the end of a little pipe, just so you can see. As you can see, it's just coming out there. It's just like foam. I'll show you on the floor. That's all it is, just a foam. And you put it down that pipe, both of them pipes, and you just discharge the whole can into the DPF. Obviously, it fills the DPF with foam, cleans it. You just start it up, let it idle, and it just cleans all the shit out of it. And I'm actually going to... That's just cheap stuff. That's been sat there for years. I don't even know if it's still in date. Either way, it's getting hoed down there to let it seep and clean overnight, and I'll start it up in the morning. But I'm debating getting the proper Normfest stuff. You've seen it. It's a few of the people who are now starting to use this, but I've used it for flipping years. It's about £35 for the same, just like a can like that, but it's meant to be really good. But sometimes these pipes are a bit hit and miss. You put them down and you're spraying and all this bubbles back out, and you don't, unless you can find a proper opening. Naturally, I'm not going to pull the DPF off. It's a huge job. The only way in is in either of those pipes. If it doesn't properly go down and seep in, I'm not bothering. So I'm going to try with this cheapo can first. Then, after I've done the cheapo can, I might just spend a bit extra money while I've got it all stripped down and put the it's like foam down, let it seep clean, just while it's getting the full beans, getting the remap done, it's getting the exhaust flexi, which is all going to help the DPF flow properly fixed, and I may as well clean that out, and a new pressure sensor. But like I've told you can't just change these sensors. So obviously now I've took the old one off and I put the new one on. Bosch, as you can see, that's a Bosch. The car doesn't know that. The car doesn't know it's been changed. It sits on this little bracket thing here. What you need to do is use VCDS. Now, I'm not going to actually program anything yet because there's the plugs disconnected, so I'm leaving the ignition off. This may not work. So obviously on VCDS, you go into the engine. So what you have to do is just select engine. I'm not going to actually do it because it's not connected. And you go into coding 2. It's hidden, this one. Coding 2. And if you notice, a little pop-up box will come up there. And you see that? The third one down, exhaust gas differential pressure sensor, G450 adaptation. That means you're putting a new one on. So you just simply enter the code down there. So on this, what you got to do is enter that code 30605 into here, then press do it, and that just basically tells the car it's got a new sensor on and resets the values. If you don't do that, you may as well not even bother changing the sensor. Now I'm going to switch this off because I don't like it being on while the plug's disconnected. I'll probably have to do a code reset on it because I've switched it on. So we'll just go back from that, cancel. And that's that. So anyways, what we're going to do now is just discharge this down there. I'll get set. I'm looking at my face here. Discharge it down those pipes. It's self-explanatory. Then start it up. Let it run. There'll be a bit of steam come out the exhaust. Once it clears off, job done. Put the pipe. Obviously, you have to connect the pipes up first before running it, and put the plug in. Otherwise, you're wasting your time because you'll just set fault codes up. So I'll probably do a better demonstration of that tomorrow with the better stuff. I'm just going to do a test tonight with the cheapo stuff to see how it actually works. So I'll catch you then, guys. Thanks for watching. Hello, welcome back to Wednesday's vlog. A few interesting cars in today. First up, I just want to show you these two. Forget the money side of things, but there's modern and old. Well, modern over here. A7 and the A6. I can guarantee that's going to have a lot more problems than this ever will. And when that reaches 170,000 mile, there'll be all sorts of it. For a start, it's the Quattro. So therefore, you just know you're going to have all of the issues with the Haldex clutch, differential. Is it the auto? If it's the DSG, lovely to drive, I will say. But yeah, the automatic DSG, S-Line as well. It will cost you money. Trust us, it will cost you money when you start reaching to the age of what that is. So yeah, there you go. A6 and A7 S-Line side by side. Nice to get them two in. I might get a photo of that before I bring it in. Anyways, what it's in for is front discs and pads. I don't believe... I thought I'd do a quick walk around of this car. First up, it's got the full LED light package, and let me tell you, these lamps are very, 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 very expensive. So look after them. Do not put anything on them if you ever go... I mean, these have self-adapting lights, I think, for going abroad, but never stick nothing on them. Headlamp washer moment. Has it got the big brake pack? It has. It's got the big... I just hope you spec the right... brakes. In fact, I'm looking at them brakes. They don't look too bad, and the pads look new. So I'm not really sure why we're being asked to change them. Who knows? Funny enough, just had one of the lads in who I know there, admiring these two cars side by side, and he was all over the A6. Had a quick look at the A7, but again, A, it's whether or not you can afford it, and B, whether or not you can afford to run it as well. So clearly, it's the A6 that wins for me. Obviously, if I had a choice between the two of them, it would be the A7 all day long, for the money. But if money was no object, definitely the A6 for me. But I'm not going to take it away. I must admit the A7 is my favourite shape, especially at the back end. I have to admit, because this spoiler comes up here, and it is it's lovely. I'll just open it up. I'm not going to deny for 1 minute they're not a nice looking car. They're just so expensive. And at the minute, pillarless door, I love that. And on the interior, I do reckon that the A7 will probably, but when you get a look though, I don't know if these will age as well as what the A6 has. There's still a lot of, you know, like on the stainless steel and stuff, the A6 has got nothing like that on. Little marks and stuff. And it's only done 82,000, so I'm not quite sure that they'll age as well. I do like the seats as well. I must say I do like that. The effort, they have made the effort for that. So yeah, nice car, I will say. If I got offered one cheap and in years to come, when they are cheap, I would buy one, definitely. But for now, I just know parts are that expensive. I don't even know if this is the 2 litre or the 3 litre. I think it's the 3 litre actually, which is nice. The 3 litre V6 diesel, very nice, and quattro. Expensive though, you lose miles per gallon, a lot of issues. Personally, if I spec one, I would get the non-quattro one. A lot less to go wrong, a lot more power, and believe it or not, the handle actually just as good. There's very little difference apart from when you get onto some snow and stuff like that, but it's how interested you are about wanting to drive on snow with a car that low anyways. I mean, personally, I would pick a different vehicle to go howking through snow. I want to just show you this little thing. It's quite an interesting car. It's a little Fiesta. It's just needs a little bulb unit down here, which it's in for. But I've got the keys here somewhere for it. Is there anything that you think is unusual about this? What is it, a 14 plate? Anything at all? Apart from the front seat being at a really weird angle. I don't know how anybody could possibly sit in that. This is what the difference is with this car. Right there, guys. 9,599 miles. Yep, that's right, 9,000. It did actually only used to have 6,000 mile on till not so long ago. There's an old guy drives this car who uses a Zimmer frame and a mobility scooter, and he's going to drive this to Spain. I don't know how he's going to manage, and I think it's going to take a little while. But he's taken it into Halford's, not my top pick, to have a roof box fitted, 360-degree cameras, reasons unknown. I don't know if it's to help with his visibility or something. It's a shame with the car being so low miles. It should have went to a better, made some money on it and bought, I would have personally bought like an estate car or something, because that's worth decent money with them miles on. So that's that anyway. Tier. That's going to be getting the exhaust sorted today. I'll just show you this Corsa on here, in for an oil change, air filter and drop links. And I think my dad was just pointing out how knackered it was. This one. Does it give it a rattle?
What was that one?
And there you go, you can hear that.
That one.
So that definitely needs the drop links done. You know they're bad when you can hear them on a 2-post lift, because with the suspension drops, they're under load. So, as usual, TRW original equipment, what they leave the factory with. They're the lamps for that Fiesta. They're the brakes for this Audi. Customers supplied them. I personally would not be fitting Apex brakes to a 3-litre Quattro Audi with Brembo brakes on. I would be fitting the proper Padgett or original equipment ATA VW ones, but he's a friend of ours. Normally I don't let people bring their own parts in, but on this occasion I'll let him. But I've got this as well I want to show you. There's been on a few of the other channels, this actually. The DPF cleaner. I'm going to do a separate video on this. I've decided I'm not doing it till the exhaust's been sorted. 36 quid or something. This, it's really expensive, but it's meant to be the bee's knees for cleaning out DPFs. And a top tip: you're not meant to just clean them when they're full, when they're knackered. You're meant to do regular cleaning annually, not like every week or anything. Yearly, put that through. You put it down. I showed you last night, down the pipe. The foam goes at the DPF. It soaks. Then you go out and take it for a run. That's what it's designed to do, to clean them out. Gets the soot mass and everything out of them. Anyways, I'm going to leave that there. I need to crack on with the Audi Fiesta, get on with that, and get on getting this Corsa sorted. Enough talk. Catch you later. Just a quick update on the Audi, just to show you about what I mentioned last week when the scanner got broken. Nowadays, you can't run a garage without some kind of diagnostic equipment. So, first up, like I've mentioned to you at the beginning, as an honest people are, I spotted absolutely nothing wrong with the front brakes whatsoever. Rang the guy and told him, and he was understanding of that, and we had a look at the back, and it was actually the rear ones, the rear pads. They weren't horrendous, but they had definitely got down low to the point of, I think the sensor's around here somewhere. Is that it on there? Right there. The sensor had gotten low, and you can just see there, don't know if it's going to zoom in on it, you can just see here where the wire had been broken. I just caught it. So luckily the new pads come with a sensor. He had them in the boot anyways, so we fitted them. We cleaned this edge up. To be honest, them discs have got to get them through the winter, and they've got a good 10,000 miles or so on them now. I would just say get them through the winter, see what he thinks. If he wants to put discs on, he can, but these will be the original Audi ones, and there's nothing wrong with them. And the sensor just goes up here. Done that, the new pads in. Like I've said, the diagnostic equipment is connected to them because there's a motor on the back of the caliper. So now we've pushed the piston back. We need to go back, put the diagnostic equipment on, and all it does is just pushes the piston out. Happy days. You've got to use all this equipment still. I just want to leave this out to show you. We've got the special VAG one with the 3 pins in. You've got to use that. That connects up to the airline. You put it in, you twist it a little bit, and it pushes straight in. The manual ones, you've got to wind them. These, they just go in. So there we go. That's that. Done. Ready. It just needs to have, like I said, the diagnostic set up. Shouldn't be any lights on, and the pad warning light. But I did just want to show you with this car, whoever's fitted the pads in the past has fitted them incorrectly. Now, these were on the right-hand side, which are 2 inner ones for the caliper. As you can see, the caliper's been on that one, but not that one. And the 2 outer ones have a square, like a straight edge like that. So somebody's fitted 2 caliper side to one side and 2 inner side to the other. So they were fitted completely incorrectly. So bar the fact that it's come in with a fault, I wouldn't think this would cause anything catastrophic, but nevertheless, the pads have been fitted incorrectly. The Corsa, the wheel nuts were so tight in it, we thought we were going to snap into the hub. So luckily that's gone right. But the levels of corrosion on these things are just horrendous, so be careful if you're buying one. Sure enough, to me saying, SG, Scotland. Doesn't mean it's lived its whole life in Scotland, but it's certainly, any period of time in Scotland does take a hell of a... I mean, up there, you can see all that. It's just crumbling away. Them arms. We didn't MOT this, by the way. But yeah, it's okay for now, but... Certainly had the old corrosion, had it in the usual spots. But yeah, that's getting the TRW drop links. That's them down there. They're not. If you have a car and you've got rattling at the front, 80% of the chance it'll be one of those. So they're there. I've showed you them before. They're getting fitted. It's had the service done, and that's it. We'll leave it there. I've mentioned what I'm doing to the Altea. I'll update you. I'll just quickly show you. Pressure converter on it. I'm changing the DPF sensor. That's back on the brand new one, as you can see there. That's it, brand new Bosch one, fitted, reprogrammed in, and that new cleaner stuff, I'm going to take it to the exhaust place this afternoon And then when I get it back, I'm going to put that cleaner down the pipes and then give it a proper run, because if I do it now, it's only got to do a 2-mile drive, and I don't think that's going to do any good. So that's all done, and this is what you call your turbo pressure converter. It's basically your N97 valve, and I've checked the date on that. I've had it off, and that's also 2009, the same as what that was. So that's done like 170,000 miles. This controls all the pressure which goes to your turbo, which means it picks the turbo up. Basically, this is a variable geometry turbo anyways, so this down here is your variable area, but you still relies on the vacuum from the N97 valve to, basically it's a variable nozzle turbo. That's what controls it. So if that's not working right, that's definitely something to change. It is working okay, but it's done 170,000 miles in 12 years. So for the sake of it, again, for my suppliers, it was going to be £60. Put the numbers in, getting a genuine one, a genuine PR Berg one, which is the same as the VW one, for £36. So next week I'll be fitting that. So I'll catch you soon. The only thing I might film, if people aren't on top of it, the battery, I'm going to take it across to the Mercedes, the ML, and we'll do a start up, because obviously once I fit the battery, I'm going to just let it run for 5 or 10 minutes just to see everything's okay with it. So I might catch you later on when we're across at the yard, but if the guy who owns the place is knocking about or anything, I'll probably not bother. But I'll catch you soon. And I'll catch you soon on that Fiesta when we get it on the lift and have a look at the lights on it. Right guys, just a quick update. Some things have gone to plan, some things haven't. We went to get on with that Fiesta, and half the bumper had to be removed to get that fog lamp in. I don't even know if it's still on the lift or not. I'll see when I get back to the garage. The Audi, even though the front brakes were brand new, and the back brakes were basically down to metal with the wear indicator on, and we were fitting the parts supplied by the customer, and we had rang up and checked. He rang us up and says, oh, it was the front ones, they were warped. You've got to drive the car at 60-70 mile an hour. It's like, well, I haven't drove the car at 60-70 mile an hour. I wasn't asked to. Nobody's told us. And the rear brakes, which we've changed, were there in the boot and were down to metal and were setting off the warning light on the dashboard, which was the priority in my opinion. Now we've got to change the front ones, which, 4-pot Brembo brakes on it. It's more than likely, if they're brand new discs and pads on there and they're warped, there's a problem somewhere else. And when you're getting involved with fitting customers' own parts, it's a bit of a funny one to deal with, because it could potentially be a waste of time, because we'll fit the new discs and pads, like the new disc pads that are already on, few hundred mile down the road, they'll warp, and it'll be back to square one. And is it our fault for not fitting them right? Or what? It gets into a funny situation when you're not fitting your own parts. Anyways, in that time, I went and dropped the Altea off to the exhaust specialist to put a specially welded in new flexi joint on the DPF. That's dropped off tonight, staying there overnight for him to get on with tomorrow. And then while we're over there in Ashton, I thought it would be a good idea to go over and put the battery on the ML. But I turned up at the yard, and the guy runs a garage, but he also does recovery, and the gates were locked, and he was out doing a recovery. So that was a bit of a bummer. And then I said to my dad, today there was no MOTs in, one had been cancelled. I said, oh, hold on, I'm desperate to get my C-Class done, the C230, because I want a full, it's due now in December, so it's got 13-month MOT. So I'll just show you, I've been over and MOT'd that. I've covered a few numbers up, clearly. I'm just don't feel the need to be putting chassis numbers and MOT numbers on here, but it just shows you, just thought I'd show you that, just proves the point where it's been. It's only ever had 3 MOTs in the UK. Its first MOT was here in 2006 when it was 3 years old at 52,000, and then it come back into the country there at 21,000 in 2021 with 119,000 on. But yeah, it's done a fair few miles in the last year, I will admit. Since last year, crikey, that's actually no, that's not. That's just my brain not working. It's only like 6,000 mile. So yeah, and as you can see, it's got 13-month MOT on, because it's now MOT'd till the 13th of the 12th, 23. And obviously that's the 16th. And like it's basically, you can get 13-month MOT on your car if you take it in the day after it's due. So this one was due on the 16th of the 12th. No, 13th of the 12th, and then obviously I've done it on the 16th. It's a few days out, but anyways, you get me gist. You get 13-month MOT. So there you go. That's that sorted. I'll just show. I thought I'll show you it outside. It's dark now. I'm gonna have to get a lift back home off Holly because there isn't space in the garage to keep it. But there it is on the drive. I just want to just show you, which I should have had fitted to the ML, which I couldn't get round to doing. But there's the battery for it, which I'm going to go and put in Holly's car and take to the garage. So now me and my dad are going to have to try and fit that sometime tomorrow, because it's a two-man job to lift that great big battery into it. It's quite awkward. So anyways, there's an update. If I get back to the garage and there's anything to report on, I'll get back to you. If not, I'll see you on tomorrow's vlog on Thursday. Thanks for watching. Right guys, and welcome to Thursday's vlog. Miserable day. Literally since finishing work last night. Wait, it was before. I see I MOT'd the C-Class, and it's just started drizzling and rain about 4 o'clock, half 4. Never stopped raining since, and now it's 11 o'clock the next day. So doors are down, can't have them open. It's just miserable to work in here with those open. The rain comes straight in. So I'll show you what I've got in anyways. It's Insignia. It's my sister's car. You know I'm not the biggest fan of these cars, so I'm going to keep it to a minimum. All it's in is just for simple service: oil and filter change, air filter, fuel filter at the back, and then we're going to look at the pollen filter. But just another one of the reasons why I just really generally do not like Insignias is not only I don't like the way particularly they look or practical wise, just everything, just doing simple services on them. An idiot has designed them basically. There's the oil filter up there. You know, in this car is called the Eco. So an Eco car is designed so that your oil spills everywhere. Even when you do it right, they still are not great basically. So yeah, but when you get a look at the subframes, we've looked after this one, and you can see the front subframes on them are just not good. These are going to be the next Vectra C's and like these Astra G's, but they're in a, you know, bits of rust and everything coming out of here. Big bits of rust. Is it not? So yeah, the fuel filters, believe it or not, on the normal ones aren't bad under here, but this is what they call the Eco Flex, and as part of the Eco Flex to get the £20 and £30 tax, full underneath is covered with these trays. But a normal Insignia, that isn't, believe it or not, isn't there, and you can get straight to the fuel filters on them, which are there, nice and simple, worthwhile doing regular rather than not, because you'll just end up knacking the injectors. And that leads us to my other thing with these engines. They've got a major issue. It's the Fiat 2-litre diesel. Vauxhall call it CDTI, Fiat call it multi-jet. There's a little, I'll just pull this round, a little oil pickup in the little washer in the sump, and obviously it's your standard pickup strainer. It sits in the sump in the oil, and it draws the oil via the pump up the spout and to the top part of the engine. And on that spout there's a little nylon rubber washer which leaks the pressure out. So basically it's not getting full oil pressure at the top of the engine, so you find that your turbo knacks all the top end of the engine, or you just generally it fails altogether and your engine just goes bang basically. But it gets better than that. So you'd think, well, you just take the sump off, don't you, and you put a new one on. Oh yeah, you would on a normal car, not on these. You've got to take, well, supposed to take the gearbox out to get the sump off, but there's a way you can drill the sump and everything now to do them. But you shouldn't have to be drilling sumps to take them off, simple as that. But there we go. So yeah, that's just all that this is in for. My advice would be don't buy one, unless it's very, very, very well looked after. But my dislike of these cars goes even further, because when you open the boot on these estate ones, I think they must hold a record of such a big car to have such a small boot. The actual hatchback Insignia has got a bigger back than the estate. You've seen it, I'll show you later on when I'm doing this one. But it looks like somebody's parked a Nissan Micra in the back of it when you open them. Honestly, I swear to God, the opening of the aperture of the boot on this Audi will be bigger than the boot on one of those Insignias. I tell you that for an absolute fact, because I've seen what my sister can fit in there. And we can fit, by Holly, you've seen Holly's Astra, the newer shape of that one. We can fit more in her Astra than what my sister can in that, because we've got the same pram as her, and Holly can fit that pram plus Harvey and Hunter on the back of hers. And when I was out the other week with my sister in this, she had the pram in it, and there was barely space for her dog in it. So yeah, I don't know what the guy was smoking when he designed the back end of this car, whoever was in charge of it in Vauxhall. So on to what the Audi's in for. You can see I've got it apart, code reader on. I'll have a look. I think I've got the ignition switched on. Yeah, so there you go. Got the old DPF light on, engine management light, and flashing glow plug light. It's in limp mode, and this car I've worked on it a long time. It's had continuous DPF faults. And before you say, oh, well, there must be something. We've had DPF dock now, we've had God knows what on it, and it still just keeps... I'm now to the point, if it isn't something major with the car, I really do think it's down to driver error. I just don't know if the guy is listening to what we mean by, not regularly, but once every few weeks doing a regen. Some people just can't seem to be able to do it properly. Apart from that, then I don't know. We're grasping at straws. I'll show you where we're at. So the machine's on, and there's the codes. This is a new machine, by the way, guys, so it's getting looked after. Not that the other one didn't. So first up, for doing regens, you need the glow plugs working properly. And this has got 140,000 mile on, 145. And straight away, I seen that cylinder 2 and cylinder 4 glow plug off. There's no point in trying to mess around with regens and stuff if the glow plugs aren't working right. So there we go. 2 glow plugs are on there. Number 2 down there, and number 4 down there. So luckily, I really didn't expect those to come out. So they're out. There's some new ones coming. So we can wipe those 2 codes off. And then again, just particular filter restrictions, soot accumulation, particular filter regeneration, duration. You see duration. It's down to, I believe, that it's not been left long enough to do a full regen. Now, for what these cost, you've seen this with my Altea this week. There's a pressure sensor on here. They're about 50 quid, 60 quid. Don't quote us, I would need to check. So really, we need to kind of change that first. It would make the massive amount of sense to put a new one on. But then, like I've already told you, it's not just the fact of putting a new one on. You've got to tell the car's ECU, which I can do, believe it or not, with this. I've got VAGCOM in the office, the laptop, but it's just as easy to do while I've got this out. So basically what you do is you tell the car that it's got a new sensor. If you don't, it's pointless changing it. What you shouldn't really do, but I've heard through the grapevine of mechanics and stuff that you can, is you also tell the car it's got a new DPF fitted. The reason why is if I can't, at the minute it's in limp mode, and while it's in limp mode running at restricted power, I can't do a forced regen or a one out on the road. So you've basically, the only way around it, I'm changing the sensor anyway. Change the sensor and say it's got a new DPF on, and it should then revert back to full power so you can actually do a regen on it. Fingers crossed. And obviously these glow plugs are going to help. But what I do want to show you is what I am going to use. This is an empty can. While that sensor is off, I've got this stuff. It's not the top quality stuff or anything like that. It's just what I've already used one on my... It's DPF cleaner. It's a special foam. You put down the pipe and it squirts down. It's just like carpet cleaner. I've showed you earlier this week on my car. And all you do is, when you got the DPF pressure sensor off this pipe here with the silver, you just squirt it down that pipe and it goes, this is the DPF, it goes directly in. It's too hot at the minute, I can't do it. Spray some of that in, change the glow plugs, change the sensor, put it all back together, recalibrate the sensor, recalibrate the DPF, take it out on a drive. And I'll report back to you where I get to on that. And I'll quickly show you the, when I've got everything built up, of how you reset the DPF pressure sensor in the DPF. Just quickly before I end the video, I just want to show you this marvel engineering, what Vauxhall did with the Insignia estate. Look at that. How small is it? It looks like there's a Nissan Micra with them lights being parked in the back. I can't work out why they did this. I mean, it's tiny. Like, when you look at this here to here, I can't even explain to you, like, how I would have to use an example, like an actual measuring bar, but the back end of that Audi is bigger than the back end of this. It cuts so far down below the roof line, that's the roof line there, and it cuts down to, bearing in mind, not the rubber seal, to there. You've lost, like, a hell of a lot. And there's the side of the car here. and that's the space you've got to work there. You've lost a foot at each side because of these stupid lights. Like, why do you need these epoxy lights on here? Why not just design it so the lights stop on the car? You don't need this massive area of the boot. I don't know. I really don't know what they were on, but that's why if I had to have an Insignia, it would definitely be the hatchback over the Estate, and that's about the only car I think I would pick, which would be a hatchback over an Estate, because it's absolutely useless. I just don't know why Vauxhall ever allowed that design. One other thing I want to show you on this is the secondary pipe doesn't go to anywhere. On my car it does, and on this one it doesn't. No, it isn't a fault. It's genuinely, that's how these ones work. I just find it strange how on one car it does, and on the other it doesn't. And there's definitely nothing like disconnected, missing, incorrect. That's just how these ones are. It's just strange how one can work with one and the other can work with two. Needless to say, touch wood, I haven't really had too many issues with the DPF on mine with the two pipes, and this one's had nothing but issues with one pipe, so it must go to prove the one pipe system mustn't work as well. So I'll catch you later, maybe when I'm squirting the fluid down, change the sensor and reprogram everything in. Right, bit of an update. I can't even remember what I said in the last one because there's been all sorts going on here, but anyways, Audi glow plugs back in, old ones out, I'm sure I've showed you them. Old DPF pressure sensor off. It wasn't really showing major faults this, but they don't last very long, these. Don't ask why, they just don't. So a nice new one on. Silicone greased the pipes up so that they can they go on and off easily. So they're ready to go on. Glow plugs are in, all connected up. As you can see, the pipe down there, this is your DPF cleaner. Give it a shake, and you can see it go down the pipe. It just goes in like a foam. About 5 pumps. And then leave it. That's all I've been doing. It's cool enough that now. And once that can is discharged into there, let it soak, put the sensor back on, let it start up, run for 15 minutes. It will be a bit steamy, I'll show you. And then go out for probably the best part of an hour, because it'll be not too, I don't know where this time goes to, it's almost 1 o'clock now. Get me dinner, and go out for about an hour before the roads get busy, and do some regens. I may pull over somewhere and show you, but with the rain being so bad, I can't even get out the flipping car. What I'm quickly doing now, which is watching here, is my dad, I only brought this in this morning, because it was raining that hard. MOT'd it last night. I did the walk around video. I've just got these plugs sitting here. Laser iridiums, NGK, special. Actually, I don't know if it says on the box, but these ones are actually stamped on them there. Made in Japan. Proper Japanese plugs. The ones that are fitted are Bosch. Now, don't get us wrong. It's Baru that make these coil packs. And there's Bosch ones in, which are branded Mercedes ones. But I don't know why, I just don't like Bosch spark plugs. Speaking of that, this is a reason why. I'm not against the French whatsoever. But I don't like the idea when you're getting, where were they here? German, they're the glow plugs just fitted to this Audi. Bosch, right? Made in France. I don't know why. I just don't know why. It's not so much that, just the general build quality of Bosch spark plugs are just not anywhere near NGK level. I'll quickly whip one out and show you. No idea how well this will show on camera, but obviously NGK IR iridiums. Probably not zoom in, says down there, made in Japan. And they've just got a lovely sort of tip to them, where the Bosch ones just don't seem to. And just in case you're wondering what's platinum, what's iridium, the tip of this and the piece just underneath that electrode is coated with iridium. So naturally you've got gold, then you've got platinum, then above platinum you've got a iridium. It's a very, very, very precious metal. Hence, these spark plugs be touching 80 quid, and I got them off eBay for 40. So, like I said, I'm just going along the lines of getting everything done. As you know, I've done the oil, done the air filter, done the pollen filter. The fuel filter's in the boot. Like I've mentioned, it's too wet and everything. I'm going to put it up on the lift next week with a hand from me dad, because it's underneath trays. Change the fuel filter, spray a bit of Lango guard underneath, and it's going into storage. But the only thing left, because I was waiting for them, are the plugs. So it's got new spark plugs, new air filter, new oil, new pollen filter. Fuel filter will be done. So I'm just eliminating everything. So when it comes out to play in spring, it's ready to go. Where the ZX, I've unfortunately, because I rushed into putting it into storage, I've let that one slip because the MOT's ran out. That's why this one's got a full MOT. So I'll just be able to bang, tax it where you go. ZX, I forgot. Now, I can't tax it when I want to. I've got to faff on doing the MOT. I've got 2 little axle bushes to do on the back of it. It's fine for an MOT, maybe an advisory, but bar that, it is absolutely spot on, but it's just the faff. I haven't done none of that with the ZX. So, yeah, I know you should technically recommission your cars after the storage period, but modern oils and stuff and fuel, like both, like the ZX has got E5 premium fuel in because that's all it can run on, and this has got the 99 octane premium fuel as well. It's come a long way since back in the day, but when people say, oh well, when it's been in storage, you should do all your recommissioning once you start using it after the winter. But crikey, we're into November now, it's only going to be a couple of months, you know what I mean? It's not like it's stood for a year, you know what I mean? So it just means it's ready to go. One last thing I want to say, guys. Today is the 17th of November. It's the old chap's birthday. 17/11/37 he was born. I can't work out quite how old he'd be. Late 80s now. But yeah, gone but never forgotten. I've just put a post on the page there. Obviously we're getting close to Christmas. That was what time of year we used to love to go out to have our yearly knees up. And all what like close customers and friends used to come, but he's still a big miss. Still a big miss every day. I must admit, I thought by now I would sort of be better about it, but every single day there's a reminder of him. It doesn't matter where you look. Naturally, there's Joe there. There's his number plates, which believe it or not, I've took these on. I forgot I had them actually. His number plates, J700 SMT, countless cars they were on, and just generally everywhere I walk around the garage, there's little reminders and pieces of kind of Joe's life. All that stuff up there is his. There's his handwriting on things, like just little bits we've got sitting around, but all that up there is his air filters of all the various cars. He put the high flow filters in because he used to like to put his foot down. All that still he's up there. It's just strange, just it's there. There's reminders of him every day doing particular jobs that we know he used to hate, or doing things, and me and my dad both say, oh, Joe would be saying this or Joe would be saying that. Like the Mondeo we had in, that used to be his car. So many of my cars used to be his cars, etc, etc. That brings back memories. So yeah, just thought I'd do a shout out to Joe. Not like he'll be watching this, it might be up there in heaven watching it. But yeah, Joe, I say it's his birthday today, so thought I'd do a shout out. Anyways, I'm going to get on with this Mercedes, get this done, because I'll be getting a phone call off my dad shortly, because I'm taking this back home, because there's not going to be space in the garage tonight for it. Catch you soon, guys. Just a quick update before things get fully built back up. I'm making the most of a bit of downtime where my dad's away, and I've kind of got the garage to myself. I am getting on with all obviously paid work, but I've got this car out the way for storage tonight for cars coming in. So obviously we've got it all stripped down there. All the coils out. There's a lot more to it than what you think now on this isn't even a modern car, it's a 20-year-old car, to getting the plugs out. So obviously there's the old ones. To be honest, they were quite suttered up, but this car's been doing a lot of local driving about. I'm just trying to get it there. They're not the best. The only thing is, these are original Bosch ones, but Mercedes. But when you look on the number, they're only registered as P, which are platinums, where really these should have iridiums, which are one step up. So again, we're doing an upgrade. They're getting a bit crusty in that to start with. Little bit of oil's down there, but I don't think it's the rocker gasket, because it's right, the ones where it's wet, right next to this oil cap, and there's oil all over. I think somebody's poured oil in and it's overspilled. So, a few little tips. Got the silicone grease into those, which go over the top of the plugs so they don't seize. And by the way, I don't care if anybody says you shouldn't do this, because I've done it for years and it's never failed. You get tight spark plugs, they get quite tight, especially like platinums and iridiums that you don't always change every year. So I always put a bit of high temperature grease on the threads, just a little bit, and it just means that they won't seize into the head. Common sense tells you that. New compression rings on them, obviously, as they come with all plugs. And with these, with the coils, like I mentioned, see the 4 dots, cylinder 4, 2 dots, cylinder 2, 1 dot, cylinder 1, 2 dots, like 3 dots, cylinder 3 even. Just don't mix them up. For the sake of just 30 seconds, not even 30 seconds, mark them up just so you know which ones are which. Put a bit of grease on the mounting bolts. Just little top tips for you when you're changing things. you get all these anti-grease guys and stuff, but I've been in this trade all my life, and whenever I've touched something previously and I've greased it up, it always comes back off okay. Garages that don't bother themselves and dealerships, every time you come to take something off, they're absolutely welded on, they're seized, they're broken. So bollocks to the stuff what they say about not using grease. Copper grease is getting out of it a bit now. I use this new high temperature compound grease. It's all different greases you can use for different things, but I'm a big believer in it. So that's that. Going to build this back up, and that's pretty much. I don't really need to show you any more on it. It'll start up fine, blah blah. Put it back in the reverse. I took it out, and I will have the C-Class in next week, doing the fuel filter and a bit of spray underneath before it goes into its storage. Last few pumps of this, I just thought I'd actually show you it coming out, because the DPF's getting full there now, and it's just going down. So there we go, that's nearly all down, soaking its way into there. We'll get this built back up with the bracket DPF sensor on, and I'll come back to you soon and I'll show you when we reset the values. So I'll catch you soon, guys. Right, probably near enough the last update of Thursday. I'll probably do one later to give you an idea if everything's gone well on the Audi. So, back to these things. Another reason, as if I'm going to give you another bad point, I've already told you about all the bad points, is glow plugs on these. I've already been through this on this engine before, but each glow plug has a hall sensor, a pressure. This is obviously, well, simple thing, because I'm actually just done the glow plugs on this. That is a normal glow plug. That is an Insignia glow plug, or a Vauxhall Fiat engine glow plug. That bit on the top is a pressure sensor. They monitor the pressure in each cylinder. It's all meant to help for economy and stuff. But these go for fun, and they're about 130 quid, maybe more, between 130 and 150 pound, over 15, 20 quid for a normal glow plug. And the cars run perfectly fine. No issues with them. The only problem is on the dashboard. I can't switch the ignition on because I've obviously got it disconnected. It come up with a service light anyway. Oil, what does it say? Oil quality. That gets to 0% and it gives you a warning saying oil change required. So you reset the oil change, which I did, and my dad took it for MOT, and he went, "Are you sure you reset that service light?" Oh, because he said it's saying service car. What was it? Service due soon or something like that. I says, no. I said, I bet you it's a glow plug on it. So we can't, no, I said, it is. So we went into the computer on the car, said oil quality 100%, because I had reset it. And every time you start it up, service car soon, I think it says, with a little car with a spanner. And that's Vauxhall's way of telling you it's not urgent, but you've got a glow plug out. Nothing wrong with the sensor at the top, just a glow plug. So why don't they not make them so that you can separate them? But you can't. So bang, 130. Here with labour in and everything, you're looking £150 every time to change these. So that's what, 600 quid to change a set of glow plugs on one of these. Yet another reason why I hate Insignias. That engine's in the Astra and everything as well. But yeah, there we go. So if you do own an Insignia, you get the service line up. That's why. You can leave them. It won't come to any harm. It doesn't even affect the MOT because it's not like an engine management light or something, but it is annoying every time you start it up. It says that. Right, on to the Audi. We're talking about glow plugs. 2 glow plugs in. Old pressure sensor off. The can of stuff's gone in. New pressure sensor fitted onto the bracket. Glow plugs in. So now what we need to do is tell the car that it's got a new sensor. The car doesn't know that. And what we need to do, which technically isn't kind of what I would say advisory, but with this car having so many issues, is to tell it it's got a new DPF. So we'll go into the car first. You know what I'm talking about. So at the minute, we've got the flashing glow plug, engine light, and the DPF warning there. I'm hoping when I reset the DPF and the pressure sensor, that should go off. So where we need to go on the scanner, I'll bring it across here, 2 moments. Note, I'm being very careful with the new scanner. It's on the battery. With the stand on at the back in case the bonnet decides to drop on it. So we're connected up to the car. The ignition's on, as you've seen, and we need to go into, just go back through just to show you. A lot of you say I don't do it enough in depth, so back and back. So this car's already been on the system, so it's saved. So Audi, So it's great, this machine, because once you've put the car in once and you need to go back in, you don't have to do all the faff again. So there we go, it brings it up, all the information about the car, which it's loading up now. It tells you everything about it. So you can see there, it's the there's the engine, there's the chassis number and everything. 5-door sport back, knows the engine code. First up, we need to go into the diagnosis side of it, engine control module. So you remember last time we had 4 codes, one relating to the DPF, the other 2 relating to 2 globe plugs, and the other one's again DPF related fault. So we need to go into here, trouble codes, and we know we're going to have one. There we go. Particular filter restriction soot accumulation. So we need to tell the car that it's got a new DPF and a new sensor to get rid of that code. If you don't get rid of that code, the car will continuously run in limp mode. In fact, so we'll go, well, I'll try wiping it off, but I know it'll come back immediately. It might come off like there, but as soon as you go back, cycle the ignition on the car, which will do, it will come back 9 times out of 10, but there we go, you see. Come back on, flash and glow plug and all that. I'm not guaranteeing this is going to work, guys. I'm not, certainly no professional when it comes, but I do know what I'm doing as a general kind of consensus of it. So there we go. Bank 1 just means it's not a V6 engine, so you can just ignore that bit. So hot functions now, we're in the DPF regeneration side of the servicing of this machine, not the diagnosis, this is servicing. So we're going to here, into the DPF ECU, if you want to call it that. Particular, you can do an emergency regeneration, but it will not do that. The glow plug 1 lamp, forget that, we want to go into here. Adaptions after replacing basically DPF or the pressure sensor. So we're going to here. There you see you've got 3 options. Replacement of the engine control unit, 1. Replacement of the diesel particulate filter, 2. Replacement of the differential pressure sender, which is that unit I've just changed, 3. So we'll not be pressing 1, so we'll do, first of all, we'll do the pressure sensor, which is 3. So press 3. After replacing the differential pressure, it may be necessary to adapt the differential pressure control unit, yes. Done. There we go. Please wait, measuring in progress. Adaption's not necessary because we haven't done the DPF, you see, so we need to just switch it round. Sorry guys, the phone went there. So yeah, so that's it reset there. Resetting the learned values of the filter was completed correctly. So obviously that was the current values of it. Calculate. I know it's not the right way, but it's the only way you can get these things to actually make any sense. Right guys, it's hit you miss sometimes with the Autel, and sometimes I find it's easier just to use the VCDS, which is original dealer equipment. So I'll just show you. Of course, this is a laptop with a lead, so I can't, it's a bit more difficult to film. So I'll switch the ignition back on. It will keep saying that DPF, but if you notice now, the flash and glow plug light's off, which means it's out of limp mode. The engine light and the DPF light will come off once it's done a regen. So onto VCDS, simply go back. All we need to do is obviously go on to engine, which is O1. Let it load up, which it's doing. All we want to do is go to basic settings. And there's a list of different things. And what we want to do is resetting of learned values of the particle filter. Go. And that's it. Finished correctly. End system OK. Done. Go back. Back to the same thing again. Basic settings. And when I find it, reset and learn values of the differential pressure sensor, which is what we've changed. Got to tell the car it's been done. Go. Running. Finished correctly. System OK. Obviously stop that. There. And that's it. So they've been reset. Really, now the only thing I can do is take it out for a drive. So what I need to do now, since I've put that additive into the DPF, start it up, let it run for 15 minutes, which is a good idea anyways. To help it do a regen, it needs to be up to temperature. I've just realised I've left my screwdriver on there. Good job, I looked there. Let it run up to temperature. Let's just check that they have, which I told them to. See if they have, yeah, half a tank of fuel. Needs to have plenty of fuel in to do a regeneration. Needs to be fully up to temperature. Check the engine oil, which I do. and just let it idle 15 minutes and take it out on a good drive, and I'll come back to you later on if and when I've getting it to regen. If it hasn't, it's going to have to go to a specialist this time, and I think the only way around this one would be remove the DPF, gut the guts out, map it out. Other than that, sell the car the way it is, because I want to get rid of it anyway. But when you have a look around the thing, it's I've already told them, personally I wouldn't even be spending this money on it. It's pretty rough. 60 plate car this, by the way. Corrosion on the boot and everything. Generally an uninteresting colour, uninteresting spec, uninteresting interior. I personally would just take it in somewhere and get what you can for it. But anyways, they've not spent too much money. DPF pressure sensor, cleaner, 2 glow plugs, bit of labour. I might stick a fuel additive into the diesel for while I'm out doing the regen, just to help things along with the cleaner that I've put in. But we'll see how things go, guys. Catch you soon. Right, guys, update on Thursday. Complete balls up. Another reason I hate them Insignias is when you push the engine covers on, if you don't quite get the, which is invisible underneath, you can't see, when you push the engine tray down, if it's not directly on the little ball joint, tiny little ball joint, if it's ever so slightly forward or back, when you press it down, you snap one of the injector leak back pipes. It's a known fault with these. If it's just ridiculous, so I'm having to go, my dad's away now to try and find a T-piece, because typically Vauxhall haven't got any in stock. Anyways, I'm going to go out, he's doing that now, I'm going to go out and do this regen on the Audi. As you can see, I just want to show you how this stuff works. As you can see, that is the stuff evaporating, the cleaner evaporating out of the DPF. And I just want to quickly show you in the car. It's also all good times in the car, because if you notice the flash and glow plug light and the engine management lights off, it's still saying obviously the DPF because it does need regen. So once we get a regen underway, we'll lose that DPF light, all the engine lights back to full power. I think I've just saved them a hefty bill, so happy days. I'll get back to you once I've done the regen, and hopefully all will be alright. And I'm just waiting for my phone call to get the Altea back from the exhaust specialist, and once that's done, I might have some time, because tonight I'm going out, so that looks like that plan's not going to go towards, of course, my sister's car. That Insignia has caused an absolute headache. Glow plug went in, no problems, just putting the engine cover on at the final moment. Another idiotic reason why I absolutely cannot stand them cars. It really does just reinforces my point of why I dislike them so much. They can't even design an engine cover so that it doesn't sit right on top of an injector leak off pipe. Ridiculous. Right, guys, welcome to Friday's vlog. Bit later than expected today, and unfortunately I think it'll be a bit late of getting them uploaded as well. I'm not sure on how much time I'm going to get this evening. But the A3, yesterday took it out, drove at full power, engine light off, flash and glow plug light off, but I could not get the little picture of the DPF off on the multifunction display. Not the main lights on the dashboard, the multifunction display. And funny enough, I've been watching somebody doing something similar, and I don't know why I cannot get it to do a static regen. I may this afternoon, depending on time, try to take it out and do what you call a regen on the road. I tried that last night manually, but there's a way you're meant to be able to do it with the scanner with my laptop, but I'm just not quite sure if I can get it to do it. And I don't like faffing with things when I'm driving either, because you can get done exactly the same as like using a mobile phone. So we'll see, and I'm not sure how much they want to spend on this. The brakes seemed okay, not the best, but not major for concern. All I got in is this Mini. Had to do a rear light on it, a rear stop lamp connection was dodgy on it, causing a bulb failure warning on the dash. Absolute nightmare, these bulbs to get out on these. I'll take this binnacle surround off and everything. It's had a new wiper arm and a new wiper blade directly from Mini. Wasn't cheap, but actually the wiper motor works, but it jams about here. Then you've got to just push it down and then it'll bring itself back. So obviously the wiper arm itself was all cracked, the spindle was broken. I think somebody's like yanked at it or tried to vandalise it. So unfortunately it's got the new arm on, which it needed anyway because the other one was smashed, but I think it's going to need a new motor on it. So I'm going to price that up and see where we go from there. Got the Altea back. I've just drove it properly after the remap. Absolutely fantastic. It's just had the new flexi pipe put on. I don't know where all this water's coming from. There must have been water leaking into the bonnet, but we did have a lot of very heavy rain the last few days. I'm going to have to look into this, actually, find out why that's so much dripped out of there. I was just under here 2 seconds ago and there's no water. All this has just appeared within the last sort of few minutes. I think it's just dripping out of that. So it's had the new flexi put on, like I've showed you. It's also had the new pressure sensor. I've just had delivered the new pressure converter for the turbo, which is down there. I can't believe that's the original 09 one from when the car was made. Definitely going to have to look at where that's coming from. But I've just come over what you call the One Spec River there, and it is absolutely bursting at its banks. So the amount of rain we had yesterday was horrendous. So that's probably just saturated that bit of carpet. Anyways, something interesting you might have spied in the background. An Impreza, a heavily modified one at that. I mean, look at how far those stick out. Believe me, it sounds exactly the same way as it looks. Loud. Look at that exhaust. You get your foot into there, literally I can get my size 10 shoe into there, no bother. Full foot in there, look at that. Yeah, it's got some kind of splitter and tow bar of some kind. And these mad sort of wheels, which are getting very hard up, these tyres, I will say. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, it's the non-turbo one. It's just the normally aspirated one, so it's just got a measly 125 brake horsepower. But it sounds great, the Boxer engine. Bit too loud for my likings, but it's a young lad's car. He's 17. Yes, 17. I dread to think of the insurance. But yeah, with this, the issue is it's low on idle. I can't show you because I've got it stripped down. It's just idling far too low to the point it's like cutting out the junctions and everything. Not good because he's a learner driver. Yes, he's actually learning to drive in this. I could only imagine that at 17. But anyways, what I've got is the idle air control valve. I've had some cleaner in there, cleaning the body up. And this is your idle air control valve. And it is absolutely, I haven't even rubbed it down yet, but it is absolutely thick with soot. I mean, I'll just show you on there. Absolutely filthy. So I've had it soaking. I'm going to clean all that down. Unfortunately, we can't get a hold of one of these because these cars are just that few and far between now. So I think a good clean up and lubricate and put that back in. Fingers crossed it might be working. The ABS kicks in a little bit when you come to junctions. I can't actually get it on my lift because it's that low, but I know for a fact it'll be a ring on the CV joints where the little toothed rings. I can guarantee one of them is cracked. 100% what that'll be. So there we go, happy days. I'm just going to get on, clean it. Believe it or not, all I've been using to clean this, you get all these fancy things, a bit of engine and machine cleaner, auto glim. It's all you need. It's not aggressive like solvents are, and that stuff on there now was baked on, and that will just rub off like there's nothing there. So I'm going to get that cleaned up, get it put back in, clear the codes, and we'll give it a start. Just warn you, turn your TV down. Right guys, I think we're getting somewhere with the Impreza. It's running lovely there now. Beforehand, it was barely ticking over, like 200-300 RPM. It was barely even ticking over. And when you started it up, you had to keep it revving to keep it going. But now, as you can probably hear, that nice thump, 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 thump. This is the idle control valve here. I've had it out. I've showed you, it's absolutely caked. Cleaned it up. I'd still need to put the machine on to recalibrate it. But even without recalibration, I think you should all agree that is sounding nice there now. We'll have a look at the dial, and as you can see now, it's nicely idling. I'll just put the dash lights on. It's nicely idling where it should be. It's a tiny little bit low, but without a new idle air control valve. But the way you know that they're working is if we knock it off, restart it, it should go up to about 1,500 to 2,000. See, and then when it lowers itself down, that is the idle control valve doing its thing. So it is working now, where beforehand it was just completely knackered. And we'll give it a little rev, and you'll see it'll come. Normally you would rev it, and then it would cut out. See how it sits a little bit above and then drops? That's the idle control valve doing exactly what it needs to do. See? So I think it's just been a load of crud and mess in there. We've cleaned it all up. But I think realistically, the right way about this is getting a new one. But I think they're about 100 quid. So I'm going to go on the scanner now, see if there's any adaptions I can make or reset to, reset the learned values. But that's it, guys. I'm going to fit the new pressure converter to the Altea. I might do a quick, in fact, I'll tell you what, I'm going to put it on the lift and just check to see what James has done under there, and I'll show you what this guy does. He's fantastic. He's meant to put a little bit of stainless steel pipe in as well, so I'll catch you soon. Right, guys, the final bit, but it's late on now, so I just want to show you what I've been up to. The Altea, I want to show you the work that James at Tints and Tweaks has done. If any of you ever need stainless steel exhaust, custom exhausts, as you can see, that's buried right up underneath the subframe. There's the DPF buried up there. Now he has somehow managed to fit that flange and obviously put this new flexi in, because the other flexi was broken in there and it was blown badly and all the fumes were going up into the car. It was awful. And he's managed to put this is stainless steel, so it won't rust like what the originals do. And that's great, that. He's done a fantastic job. And the exhaust here had a clamp on it, a bit like, that isn't one, a sleeve fitment, and it was getting rough, and he's put a stainless steel joiner in, but somebody had crushed all this pipe, which he's managed to straighten out and repair. So yeah, definitely recommend that. That was this had snapped, which he told us about. So obviously, I'm not drilling it out, it's already supported by one, but I've just basically ground out a little slot into the plastic and put a cable tie around simply to stop it from rattling. But there we go, happy days. Just thought I'd show you that. And I've also fitted the new pressure converter valve. The N75 is what VAG call it. But like you can see on the date on there, 2109, 21st week of 2009, on a template car, which works out exactly from when it was new. So that's done 169,000 miles, and however many years old the car is, 12-year-old. What I'm going to do now, I've got the laptop out with VCDS. I'm just going to quickly reprogram, if that is an option. I'm not sure. I'm just going to check that there is or not, to reprogram the new valve being fitted. Some cars you don't, some cars you do. I'm just going to have a look. And just finally, it's dark. I don't know how this is going to show in the darkness, but the Impreza, actually that's really good in the dark. I think I've pretty much solved this without having to change the idle control valve. This has got an alarm on, so you'll have to just bear with while I do this carry on. There we go. Luckily they put a nice light around it, and now when you start it up, lovely. Idles exactly how it should, picks itself up, drops itself down. So hopefully, I'm going to leave it over the weekend in the garage. It should, if it behaves itself on Tuesday when we're back, hopefully that's done and it can be out the way. Unfortunately, I can't get it on the lift. It's just far too low with those skirts. So I was going to look at the brakes like I've mentioned you, but I don't even need it on the lift. I know it's a broken ABS ring on one of the CV joints. So that's unfortunately something purely because we can't get it up in the air that I can't get involved with. So we'll leave that one there. I've got no idea how much that is this week on there. I'll have to get it all rendered probably Sunday and get it uploaded. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't remember, please hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Leave a comment. If you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe.